Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's really great to have everyone here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us today. Hopefully, something is said today that helps you along your entrepreneurial journey. We have a really exciting session for you today. We're going to be talking about the Lean Canvas business plan. For those of you who know about it, I'm sure you're excited to get more information. And those of you who are just learning, welcome to the world of Lean Canvas and Lean Startup. Um, we have a couple of quick housekeeping matters before I introduce our presenter for today. The event is being recorded, and the recording will be available later this week, early next week, usually by Friday, though. You can expect to see the recording on YouTube. If you are not a part of our mailing list, please go to our website, nsuiconmain.org, to join our mailing list so you can get the link to this presentation when it's available. Also, if you have questions during the presentation, please feel free to put them in the chat along with your email address. This will help us to follow up with you. If we're unable to get to your question during this session, we'll be able to reach out to you to answer your question. So it's really important to us to be able to follow up with you and make sure you get your questions answered. So please put your questions in the chat with your email address. And then also, my colleague Tiffany is going to put our contact information in the chat as well. So you'll have the link to our website, our information to our social, and to the survey that we're going to ask you to complete at the conclusion of this event, which of course helps us to know how we did and lets us know what we can do better to continue to serve you in a way that is effective and meaningful for you. So if you would, please take a second. It's really, really quick. Even if you've taken the survey before, we always need your feedback. It's so, so important for us to get that feedback from you. So please complete the survey. So moving on to our presentation this morning, we welcome our director of the NSU Innovation Center, Akosua Echiamponmadwala. She is, as I said, our director in charge of programs here at the center. She has helped entrepreneurs, innovators, and support programs, including George Mason University, ODU, to establish their vision into tangible resources and platforms in Hampton Roads. She got her start at ODU, where she worked with various entrepreneurial programs to help build and grow a community of high growth, high impact businesses. She is the creator of A Startup's Right Steps, an online course that helps entrepreneurs avoid wasting money and resources by making the right moves. She has helped her clients save up to 5 figures in less than 30 days of training with her. And she she created A Startup's Right Steps to help people turn their ideas and business models into solutions customers will pay for repeatedly. So as you can see, she is our expert of the hour. And so we're going to turn things over to you, Akosua. Thank you so much for presenting to us today.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Rhonda. And
Welcome.
thank you, Tiffany, for helping us out in the back end. Hello, everyone. Like Dr. Rhonda said, I am the director for the NSU Innovation Center, and I'm so glad to see you all. This is a topic that we are really trying to instill in our community because it will really help avoid a lot of waste of time and energy and money when it comes to starting our businesses or even sustaining our businesses. What I'm going to teach you today is something that you can repeatedly do over and over again whenever you feel that there's a shift, when you sense that shift in clients' taste of your how you're serving them, when you sense that shift in what clients want for the next product or service. We all get scared sometimes, but this canvas and this mindset that we're going to talk about today is going to put you in a relaxing stage where you know that you can continuously win because it will really help you articulate and really gather your vision and be the owner of the problem that you're solving through your business. So I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to be sharing this in our community today. So this workshop is going to cover three really basic things, but very helpful. We're going to talk about what the lean canvas business plan is. We'll also cover the benefits that you get comparing it to doing a traditional business plan in the start. And we'll also cover now what does it look like to fill out the business canvas, the lean canvas, and what does it take to in each part of it. So if you're excited, let me see in the chat, initiate that you're excited to join us. You're excited about this topic. Awesome, awesome. Let's get started. The lean startup is a methodology. It's a methodology that comes straight from university research. It comes from the Stanfords of the world. And it's a research that steals a lot of its principles from lean manufacturing. It steals a lot of its principles from agile project management. So it's one of these new methodologies that the Amazons of the world, the YouTubes of the world are using continuously to build their business model and to stay on top. So this principles itself is something that I suggest you write down, the lean startup methodology, so that you can really understand the mindset of it and it can be a practice in your business. And I guarantee you that you will not regret it. There's a lot of content on it on YouTube and on the internet at this point. It is a mainstream topic, and now universities and other institutions and organizations are embedding it. So the person that introduces the lean concept, his name is Steve Blank. And the student under him that came up with the lean startup methodology is Eric Ries right here. And he said the startup success can be engineered by following the process. So we all know that starting up a business is something that people have done over and over again. At this point, just because you or I are new at it, doesn't mean that people haven't figured out the process before us, right? So it's saying that it can be engineered by following the process, which means it can be learned, right? Which means it can be taught, right? Some of us have long term believed that there's certain people that can be entrepreneurs or certain people that can be leaders, but we know that because people have gone before us and have written down and researched and experimented and now have come up with theories that will really help us follow our startup journey in a systematic way, will allow us to avoid a lot of waste of money, time, and resources. So that is the lean startup methodology. The idea goes, your idea in your head, typically, I always love to show this picture because this baby is so cute. Typically in our minds, this is how our ideas are, and we're thinking about it, we're sleeping and dreaming about it. But sometimes we find that you tell someone else and they're just not as excited as you are. And in your heart and in your mind, you feel like, how does this person see my idea? They've probably seen it like that. And so we use this analogy when we're teaching this concept because it really helps start with the mindset of knowing that your customers are important more than your idea or your product or your service. So what your customers have to say is what the solutions that we want to build. So I want to start off to let you know that what I'm about to show you is very important because the number one reason why startups fail is that people build things that nobody wants. Sometimes you can still build something even in an existing market that has been there for a long time. You can still somehow find yourself building something that the people that have gone before you were doing good, but you find yourself not getting sales or not getting clients. It is because you have most likely built something that people are not looking for right now for whatever reason it may be. So that is the main thing that I want to highlight. These PowerPoints in this video will be made available to you so you can take a deeper look at the other components that make startups make mistakes. Before we go deep into the lean canvas, I'm trying to really build up the importance of you going this way instead of starting out your business plan with 25 pages. There is a model that inventors have. An inventor will normally say, I have an idea, let me build it right now. And oh, I need money. And then I'll think about my customers. We've I know a lot of you have heard of people that came out of garages or people that start the ideas in garages, but the idea stays in the garage because they themselves, the developers and the visionaries of the idea sits together and create for months, sometimes a year, sometimes 2 years, without involving the people that will pay for the product, the people that will open up their wallet and actually pay for the product, right? So that brings us to the old way that startup used to work. And this actually used to work. But as we know, the times have changed physically, the elements, everything. We know now for sure that things have changed and our models needs to change as well. So the idea is that business plan, you start out with an idea, then typically you want to write a 25 to 50 page business plan. And then you want someone to look at your business plan and your financial plans and all of that to say that I want to give you money. And knowing that a business plan, think about it, a lot of it because you haven't have early sales, because you haven't tested it, a lot of it is assumptions. You're assuming that these things are going to happen. So investors and banks are starting to realize more and more that people investing just on a business plan and just the concept is not enough. You have to figure out a way, and we'll talk about that later. Let me just finish the old way of startup. So business plan, get money, right, from a bank, from investor, from grants, and then you say that you want to build it. And once you build it, you want to then get customers. How many of you have always thought about it this way? And up to today, we still find ourselves thinking this way. Today, I want to show you that the idea or the new way that is accepted by investors and by even grants these days, and a lot of us are not getting funds because we keep escaping this particular process, right? So the idea is to have the idea, get your customers, right? Get your potential customers because you should know who are the type of people that would want to, you know, purchase what you want. And what you want to do is use them even before you have built it. Use them to build it. Use them to figure out what pains they're having. Use them to figure out what current solutions that they're using. And so that you can validate the different components that you have in your business plan, right? So your business plans will not be a lot of assumptions because your customers and people hold a lot of answers, most of the answers to what you've written on paper, and they can be used as a validation. And so that's what innovation really is in our age, is figuring out what people want by connecting with them and then just building it, right? Instead of, with our pride and our excitement and our egos, we think about what we want and we sit on it and sit on it and finally write something down and want someone to invest. So the concept is your customers can help you validate your business model. They can help you validate your pricing even before you put out a product, right? They can help you validate if they want to buy it in person or they want to buy it through Facebook or they want to buy it through Instagram or your website. All that things can be validated in our age and our time so that you can finally build the right solution. Now, investors want you to make early sales. Yeah. So even if it's like an intention letter that says that a manufacturer says that they plan on working with you, or some type of evidence that shows that people have bought in, right? Is very important. And the best of the best is to get people paying for what you want, and then you can get money. So we've helped a lot of entrepreneurs, and we introduce our entrepreneurs to access to capital, right? But we, even after we have done that, we always fall back here where the investor is always asking them, how much early sales have you made? Okay, so this component is very important, and the lean canvas will get you started on the right journey. So where do we go from here? That is the question. This is the lean canvas. All right. It is different from the business model canvas, but this one we believe for early stage entrepreneurs, before you even touch the business model canvas, if you haven't heard of it, is something that you can look at as well. But we believe that the lean canvas helps address some early things that the business model canvas does not. And so this is the lean canvas. It is broken down into 9 components, as you can see it. And we're going to go through all the components today. The idea is to start knowing the problem that you're solving through your business. A lot of us wants to start companies, but we don't try to think about what problem am I actually solving through my business. And before we go deep into it, the reason why we start with the problem first is because we know what happened to Netflix and Blockbuster, right? Same problem that they're both solving, but when the taste bud of the market changes, it is up to who understand and who remembers what they started with, right? What problem they started with. Because solutions are gonna come in different features and different variation as we grow and as we evolve. But the problem that your business solves will always remain. Just pause and just really think about that. The problem that you're solving will always remain, because I can guarantee you, my background is in systems engineering, and we have a principle in place that says that you can never arrive at the ultimate solution, right? But what you do is you keep delivering the best solution in that particular stage, so you can keep, improving on it, right? So there's a lot of concept of continuous improvement behind engineering, because you can never arrive at the ultimate solution that you really desire for your clients. But what you can do is make it more convenient, right? With better features, with better technology, with better services. So really stop and think about it. What problem am I solving through my business, or this idea I have? What problem is it actually solving? All right. And then you move on to the customer segment. The 3 components that I'm going to highlight on this chart before you start filling all the other ones is the problem, the customer segment, and the value proposition. So the customer segment is now the personas, right? Who are your target customers? Where do you find them? What do they eat? What do they drink? How old? What's their income? Finding out as much detail about their personas. Do they have degrees? You really, really want to be the owner and the person that really understands your customers, because you can come to a place where, because you're so embedded in the day to day, especially if you are someone that you plan on bringing on real high skill level You want your staff and your employees to have skills that you don't have, right? Backgrounds that you don't have. When you are the one that really understands the problem, your customer, right? What their pains are, what their needs are, you will never ever lose your business. You'll never ever lose feeling insecure. So these two are some things that visionaries focus on: the people and the problem, and the value, the benefit that you're offering them. Okay. Because developers are going to keep developing features, manufacturers are going to keep doing what they do, but you need to be the master of the problem of your business, the customer, and the value proposition, if not anything else. And of course, put in other components and organization in place for your business to keep growing and so that it can last. But these two, three things are very, very important. Between the customer segment and the value proposition is something that we call product market fit. That means that the people are ready for the product or service that you're offering, right? Very important. Once you know these two, you can then figure out what Facebook, we get so distracted with social media. You want to open that Facebook group real quick. You want to open that Facebook or Instagram page real quick. But please, please figure out who your customers are and what value you are offering them so that you can communicate to them really well and make money at the same time, through what we're introducing you to. So this is a snapshot of the lean canvas. Now I'm going to go through each and every one of them. The lean canvas came from the founder of it, or is Ash Marie. If you want to look that up, it is designed to create a snapshot of your business idea, right? The whole goal of it is to break down the different components that goes in your business plan on a one pager so that you can see all the components and validate them before you start writing your business plan. All right. So the first one, which is the problem, is just these slides will be available to you, but really think about the frustration that your people are facing, right? And write down three of them. Then the next thing is figuring out your customer segment. Like I mentioned, what are their personas, right? The persona entails like their background, their income, what they're interested in, who they're listening to, who is actually in charge of their decisions, or is it them, or are they influenced by another person? So you really want to think deep into the personas. And if you guys are interested in really talking about this particular part, let us know and we can make sure we make an event around that, because I think these next three components are very important and should be broken down. And then being able to visualize what the potential solution is. So we're not saying don't have a solution in mind. What we're saying is that think about what potentially they would want and be willing to change if they don't want it. The value proposition is, now I told you, it's like, how will you turn the unaware visitors into interested customers? So if you know the benefit that they want, then you would be able to communicate and let people that don't even know that you are offering them the benefit that they've been looking for. They just don't know you yet, right? But because you've gone through the customer segment and customer discovery and understanding, you can know clearly what they want. And this part is really, really what helps with your message. Um, Tiffany, who's helping us in our background, when we did this course before, she had mentioned that one thing that I had talked to her about is talk to your customers, talk to your customers. And a lot of us are intimidated and we get shy for many, many reasons, which I definitely can empathize, because I can be that way till I switch it off. Like, I need to talk to the people that are going to pay me. So she had, validated that once she started talking to her customers, her messaging actually changed, right? She thought she was selling a different thing, but the customers actually said they were buying something else. So her messaging changed to what customers believed they were buying. And so that's an interesting topic too. The solution, it's important to know what solution the problem is bringing, so you want to be able to highlight that as well. And then the unfair advantage is what we like to say, your competitors, right? How are you different from your competitors? Do you have something that they don't have, right? Do you have something unique to what you're doing that your competitors, it separates you from your competitors? The revenue stream is important too. The revenue stream is what we highlight as where your money is going to come from, right? It's very important to know the pricing model, how much, to really start to think how much is it going to, how much are people going to want to pay for this particular service or product, and how much of it can you make, within a year or so to meet your goals. Like, starting there and then coming to how much would it actually cost for me to make these things. Because sometimes the cost is not just the materials, right? Sometimes we have to embed our time and our energy, our expertise, and all of that into the cost. So knowing what revenue that you need to be comfortable with so that you can say that I am winning is very important. So then you come to the cost and start thinking about, what would it cost to do marketing, to hire new people, and to do production, whatever, the holisticness of the chart, right? You start identifying the different components, and looking at the business model canvas may be able to help you identify some of the missing components, but will also help you think about different things on the canvas that will help you identify what each of the component will cost, okay? And even including how much would it cost to bring that solution to the customers. Key metrics. So key metrics is you measuring what determines success for you, right? Think about the end of the results. What determines success for you? And and then being able to say that, say if you are doing education program, the number of attendees or something is a key metric for you. So it's very important to know what key metrics determine success for you, and thinking about that. And the channels are by what means you're going to get you're going to get hold of that target audience, right? By what means are you going to reach your customers? And that could be marketing, it could be direct messaging, it could be social media, it could be partnerships, it could be face to face. So knowing what channels that you're going to reach your customers is also very important. So you write all of that on the canvas, right? And so once you do that, once you fill out all this components of the canvas, the next phase of it is what we call validation. And that is a whole other topic, or testing of it. But today we just really wanted to introduce the canvas to you, and for you to fill it out if you filled it out before, to revisit it, right? Because we know things have changed and you want to make sure that you are changing with your market. And so filling this out, I've spoken a lot about validating it through your customers. And there are many, many ways that you can validate all these different components of the canvas by reaching the right people. We have different experiments and ways that you can apply for consulting through the Innovation Center for us to help you with. but there's a book called Testing Business Ideas, and it's by Strategizer. We'll send you the link once we're sending the thank you messages, or I'll put it in the chat when I get a chance to do that. But that book will help you identify some different experiments you can use to validate the canvas. That really includes it includes interviewing, it includes surveys, and those are the main things that we tend to think about. That, but there are many, many other ways that you can validate your customers. One of the best way that will not allow you to miss certain things will be interview. And so that is the number one thing that I recommend people to do to validate their business model canvas. All right, so right now we're just going to go through a quick example of Facebook. So we remember we're advising you to do the lean canvas when you're starting. So what we're saying is that as you're starting, you're doing this, or no matter where you are, just start. So Facebook, let's think about Facebook, right? Facebook is not new now. We're in 2021. Facebook, they started around 2004. Let's go in ahead of what the founders may have been thinking, right? And let me know if things has really changed, right? All right, let's start. The first thing that we said is the problem, right? So the problem was that Harvard University online network is very limited in functionality, not fun. Students want a solution to communicate online. So what they were saying is that networking online is complex and complicated. What their initial customers are looking for is a way to communicate online. All right. In that time, remember we had the MySpace, right? The MySpace of the world, the High Five and Friendster. I never used Friendster, but I definitely was on MySpace and High Five. But we having used both, you can see how easier, right, it is to communicate. MySpace was solving the same problem. So was High Five, a way to what? Communicate online with others. But Facebook was able to provide the solution and features that we all really wanted. So here we go. Customer segment, college students, because we know Facebook started with college students, and students of other colleges and universities. So just think about it. They were really thinking about the early adopters, right? Who are the people, even though you may have big dreams or if the dreams may unfold, who are the low hanging fruits that we can get as a customer segment? You see, the word is segment, meaning that you can have multiple customer segments, but it's very important to have your early adopters. The founders were in Harvard University, so they used the students in Harvard University. So the solution, let's move to the unique value proposition, which I said that it is the benefit, right? It becomes your messaging. It is the benefit to that you're offering to your customer segment. Everything will always go back to your customer segment. So the solution is the Harvard student oriented communication platform. Then they plan on going to um, universities. So first, the platform was set up in a way that it it will be something that students will want to use, right? So setting it up in a way that your initial customers will really want to use and can find benefit in is important. Then the solution was online communication for Harvard students with possibility to connect with friends, right? Share photos, interests, chat, and other stuff, right? It says other stuff, and I think that's interesting because of what I said is that your solution will keep adding and adding features, but what really will keep staying the same is the core of the problem. So as you know, Facebook didn't build everything Facebook could be and released it all at once. They released it bit by bit, feature by feature. All right. So the unfair advantage that Facebook has is person-to-person interaction. Friends activities push other friends to use the network. Invention of new website type, which I really believe was something that made them different from its competitors, is the way their website was set up. Social network with social features. All right. And they say that these were their key metrics. And then the channels is referral among Harvard students, right? Some of the things that we said, how are you going to reach the people that are going to use it? They were using referrals and cross-friends Harvard students in other colleges. Cost structure is right here. Of course, it will cost money to host the network, the site. It will cost money to develop and also pay people that will do some of the job. And then revenue stream, investment and advertising revenue. All right. Since then, they've had it multiple other revenue streams as we know it, but investment, venture capitalist funds and advertisement is very key for how Facebook re- generate revenue. Even though it's free for us to use, they get money from other means. All right, so that is the example for Facebook. And that's what I have to share with you all today. Are there any questions that we can talk about?
Akosua, we don't have any questions just yet, but I'll ask a question and maybe you can provide some insight for those who are listening. So
Right.
um, you mentioned that the lean canvas is something that can be used on an ongoing basis. So to flesh out changes to service delivery or pricing or anything. So can you give us kind of a scenario where somebody could use this, even though they already have an ongoing business, or,
Mhm.
how can this plan be flexible enough to use it more than once, not just when you're starting up? Can you give us some more information about that?
Yes. So I had met, just think about the Facebook example, right? Once, I'm sorry, once Facebook had achieved reaching that new customer segment, right? What we call the early adopters, you would want to revisit the canvas if you want to add a different type of customer segment, right? So, say they wanted to, even if they were moving from Harvard to, say, a different university, they would want to revisit the canvas, right? Or better yet, say they moved from that customer segment of universities to a different segment, right? To, say, high schoolers, they would want to revisit the canvas because within every segment, your your canvas actually changes, right? Because the way you're going to talk to Harvard students and reach Harvard students and the benefit that college students will see will be very different from the benefit, let's just say, high schoolers will see. So that is a really good question and a good example that if you're thinking about reaching new customer type, right, a new customer segment that are in a particular group and all have the same personas, you want to revisit the canvas because your channels will change, your metrics will change. It changes everything on the canvas. And so one thing that I like to do is if I'm adding a new customer segment to the canvas, I have a canvas for every customer segment, right? because you don't want to try to squish it all in there. Just dedicating a canvas to every customer segment will really help.
Awesome. Thank you. We have questions. So, Corporate Alliance, not sure who that person is, but the person under that name has asked, are there any websites that have a lean canvas template? Can you share with us how people can actually
Yeah.
download it or fill it out?
Yeah, just Google Lean Canvas PDF, and you want the PDF versions, and you will get a bunch of them. So once you
Okay.
Google, it will come up.
Awesome. I've also heard of some online services where you can complete them like on a
Mm-hmm.
website too. So good places to look. Lots of places to find the lean canvas. Jalen Spear asks about composing one-line messages without making it a run-on sentence. I'm not sure if that's meant for this forum. So if you need some writing support, we're happy to help. You can send us an email, and I'm happy. I don't know, you might be one of my students actually, and I'm happy to help you do that, because that's so. There's an explanation for that.
The oh
Oh,
yeah,
you need, okay. Got
in
it.
the value proposition, it had mentioned a one sentence, and that, that's what we kind of sometimes say, like your tagline and all of that. That is normally right on your website. The way you figure that out is by talking to your customers to understand their pain and the job that you're doing for them. So, real quick, there's a job that your customer wants done that you are going to be doing for them, and figuring that out will help with your tagline, is what pain they are having and what job that you are doing for them that they want to be done.
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that, Jalen, and thank you um, for answering that question. Are there any other questions that you all may have about Lean Canvas? Um, Please put it in the chat if so. Akosi, I have a question for people who start their businesses. And the first thing, we get a lot of inquiries about, help me write my business plan, right? That's usually
Mhm.
what everybody wants. And we heard you say at the beginning that usually people start out with the plan and then they try to make the money and the customer conform to this plan that they have.
Right.
How does somebody take the lean canvas and convert it to a traditional business plan? Is that necessary? Is it difficult? Like, how does that translate for the people who say, yeah, this lean canvas is really good for me to get started and to flesh out my business. But when I start to look at what partners and other business entities, SBA, et cetera, may be looking for, how do I make the two make sense?
Mm-hmm. So it starts with the lean canvas, because the reason why a lot of times we are not writing our business plan, or you're nervous to write it, I don't per se think it has more to do with writing skills like we think. I think it's about articulation, right? Like being able to articulate what the problem is, who your market is, and all. A lot of times we just don't know them, right? And we may read the market search report, right? But it's still not us. We still haven't embedded ourselves in it. So the lean canvas, starting with it, helps embed yourself in what already exists in the market research report, as well as what your customers will tell you. So once you have articulation, you will find that you can write, right? Once you
Right,
have
right.
a lot inside of you, you can write out the business
Absolutely. Awesome. So if you've noticed in our chat, we have added our links to our website, our social media, the links to our survey. Please, 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 I'm begging you, pretty please take the survey. That's one of the hardest things we have to get people to do in our events, is to get them to complete that survey. And what that does is it helps us to bring you events that are useful to you. We don't want to put something together that absolutely don't help you in any way. So please complete that survey. Before we wrap up, because I have one more question. I think it'll just be one and then we can probably wrap up. But what resources would you recommend for people who are really just becoming accustomed to or becoming exposed to Lean Startup, Lean Canvas? I know we talked about the founder and the original writers, but are there any tools or resources that you have found to be especially helpful on your journey that may be helpful for those of us who might be new to the Lean Startup?
Yeah, definitely. There are books. These things are all written down by, like I mentioned, people that have gone before us. So there are books that you can purchase and read, and also YouTube. Just Googling the keywords such as Lean Canvas, Lean Startup Methodology, you will get a lot. But one book that I want to introduce is Testing Business Ideas, is the book that we use a lot at the
Yeah.
center, and Dr. Rhonda even uses in her classroom. I mean, anyone can understand this book and use it. You just have to give it the attention and time it needs. And that book is by Strategizer. And so you can get that book on Amazon. And if you use that book, you may not even need to watch videos. The book is really well written.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akosua.
Mhm.
Before we wrap up, are there any questions? I know we're a little bit ahead of time, but I want to make sure that if anyone has any questions, they have the opportunity to ask. Certainly, if you can't think of any questions right now and you think of some later, you can always email us at nsuic@nsu.edu. And we're happy to make sure that the appropriate staff person is able to respond to your questions. Ethel, our next seminar is going to be in 2 weeks. I believe this is the first. We have a session. We have Build Your Business on the second Wednesday of every month. And then we have the VIP Listen and Learn, where we bring in somebody who shares their expertise and shares their life experience or their entrepreneurial experience. That will be March 24th at 10 a.m. Thank you, Tiffany. She's bailing me out. Thank you so much, Tiffany. So we will have another seminar. And we do have standing seminars on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month at 10 in the morning. So there's another question, Akosua. The question is, are there any creative ways to include funding proposals in your business plans?
I'm not sure. Can you explain what that means? You can come off mute real quick.
Yeah, you can go ahead and unmute to ask your question. It's probably easier to explain verbally.
I was just saying, in some business plans, when you bring your business plan to a bank, asking for a bank loan, they would like to have a funding plan included inside of your business plan. So that way they can have a funding strategy. So that way they can know if we would be able to give them this loan or not.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, if there was any way to include that into the Lean Canvas overview. Is there like a better way, or just create your own funding proposal?
Yeah, so the way the Lean Canvas does is, for example, if your business, you find out that you want to use a subscription model, right? You would you just write subscription model under the revenue streams, right? And kind of also know the pricing that you would want to do for a subscription model, right? Then we still don't avoid the business plan and the financial statements, which is something that we do at the Innovation Center as well, is we actually help you come up with the 5-year financial performer, right? Which
Right.
will entail the depth of, now you know that you want to do a subscription model, right? You have understanding because you started with that framework, right? And you
Right.
also know your pricing. So in the financial performer is going to capture that within the first year, I'm going to do a subscription model, um, and the amount of it that you need to do to accomplish your goal for the first year, right?
Right.
So that is what the financial statement does. And you can't really run away from the financial statement. You will still have to do it. But what we're saying is at least know and validate that your customers even want to pay your subscription model, right?
Right.
Or they want something else, or they want to pay it in a different type of model. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, it helps answer the question. One more question. I was just wondering if there was a way for corporate lines to contact you when it comes to forming that financial statement. You said that you guys do that service at the Innovation Center.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can definitely apply for our consulting program. And we can share the link in here.
Yes, most definitely. That would be greatly appreciated.
And you
Awesome.
can also shoot us an email, anyone, if you have questions about consulting or some sort of support that we can give you. nsuic@nsu.edu is our email address. And thank you, Tiffany. She's dropped that in the chat so that you'll have it. So please make a note of that and feel free to reach out to us. Also, our website is nsuiconmain.org. Also in the chat, feel free to use that as well to find out what we might be enrolling, what programs we might be enrolling, and to find out if you need the application for consulting, that is on our website as well. So
Okay.
in the chat.
I really do appreciate you guys.
Sure. We're glad we can help. So any other questions? If not, I'm going to remind you one more time to take our survey. The link is in the chat. Please click on that. It's promise it won't take you longer than like 3 minutes. Just zoom through it and really help us get the information that we need. This recording will be up on our YouTube channel by the end of the week. And we've given you our contact information. Again, thank you to Akosua for presenting about Lean Canvas and for providing such great feedback and great information to our attendees. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Hope you have a wonderfully amazing Wednesday and a great week. We'll see you guys on the 24th. Have a good one.